noise at all. Oh, there's no. That's very professional. Faces change. Look. We will begin here in just 1 second.
I see you right now.
You on the right one?
Yes.
I don't know. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start. Faces of change.
There you go.
Got me now?
Yep.
Okay. The scripts repeat. In the 1980s, headlines painted young black men as predators. Excuse me. In 1990s, immigrants were cast as bad guys. Right? Sorry. We're so far together here. Immigrants were cast as criminals. And today, transgender Americans are the new scapegoats. Less than 1% of the population, but somehow biggest threat in the country. That's not journalism. That's theater. Headlines and weapons. That's what that is. Think about the words they used. Threatened, invade, push, trans athlete, threatened women in sports. Parents furious over trans curriculum. Not words about people, words about enemies. That's framing. That's how bias works. Whose voices are missing? A GLAD study showed coverage of the trans issue spiked 400% in 5 years, but only 14% of those stories were quoted actually from trans people. Let that set in for a minute. It spiked by 400%, but less than 14% of that were actually quotes from trans people. Imagine reporting on racism without black voices. Imagine reporting on immigration without immigrants. That's what we live every day. Historical parallels. We've seen the movies before. The super predator myth, the illegal alien crisis, the Muslim terrorist threat. New decade, new scapegoat, same old playbook. And what comes after scapegoating? Policy, law, real harm. Policy is amplifier. Look at the bills. Over 300 anti-trans laws in 2022 alone. Restructuring bathrooms, healthcare, school sports, and every law came with headlines. Every press conference came with echo chambers. DeSantis calls healthcare mutilation. Cable news repeats it for weeks. Suddenly, it's not a policy debate. It's a moral panic. Personal stories. For Avery, a 16-year-old in Kentucky, this isn't a theory. And her state debated her healthcare bans. Radio shows called kids like her groomers. She walked into schools, and the echoes followed her down the hallway. For Michael in Texas, it's a dinner table division. Half of his family watch conservative news, half doesn't. Both sides treat his 18-year-old son like a headline instead of a human being. This isn't just about politics. It's about families. It's about kids. It's about whether people like me are seen as people at all. The machinery of fear. Why does it keep happening? Because fear sells. Because outrage drives clicks. Because scapegoating is easier than fixing real problems. You don't have to fix the economy. You don't have to solve gun violence. You just pass one more law to protect children. Pivot to case study, Kirk. And that brings us to Charlie Kirk, September 10th, Utah Valley University. He was assassinated while speaking a tragedy, a crime. The shooter, Tyler James Robbins. But what did the media focus on? Not the shooter, not the motive, his roommate, transgender woman. Gaslight by headlines. We'll get into that a little bit more later on about the whole how it ties into the Charlie Kirk thing. So people, something, even when it doesn't, until they start believing the lie, double standard, you know, why they frame it the way that they do, why do they villainize us? It's just, like I said, the same old narrative of the same story, just a bit different person. That's not news. That's a narrative. That's scapegoating. Ripple effects, and here's where it lands. Trans kids also called the shooters type in schools. Hotlines flood with harassment. Families divided. Teachers silence. Kids afraid. We didn't pull the trigger, but we're paying the price, right? Direct victim. But the trans community became a collateral victim because of headlines, because of scapegoating. The truth is simple. Trans people are not violent people that were being portrayed to be. We've seen this cycle before with blacks, with immigrants, with Muslims. Now it's trans. The question is, are we going to break the cycle this time? Or are we going to let history repeat itself again? Because I tell you this, I'm done being somebody's scapegoat. So Chris, do you have anything we want to talk about?
Nothing. We're talking with each other and saying hateful things.
Hateful things again?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I see a full trans hate. I see you're a man. I see hell they hate themselves. Let them join Laugh My effing A. Whatever. So, okay, chat. Hit me with your best shot. What do you got? Good. Read some of it, Chris.
Some of them are just saying hi.
Hi.
Ernest thinks you're demonic.
Why is that? Why am I demonic?
Most people aren't violent people.
No.
No one really is people or people. We have good and evil.
Broke back. That's kind of funny, Brian.
Can't even accept the fact that you are a man.
Thank you, Derek. I'm not a man, I'm a woman. Thank you.
Why do you hate yourself?
Don't hate myself. I love
No
myself.
wonder y'all lost.
And that's why I possessed. You can take your wig off. You can take yours off too, Derek. Whatever. You need Jesus. No, I don't have Jesus. Should I just go on to part 2 then?
Yes, because these are all
Okay.
hateful. The decent people are not here yet.
So this will make the trolls here really happy. This is where I say Charlie Kirk was not the only villain, not the only victim. The gaslighting Charlie Kirk case opened. Charlie Kirk was assassinated September 10th. That's the story. That's not the story they told you. Within hours, the coverage shifted, not just to the shooter, Tyler James Robbins, which I don't like saying his name, but since nobody got behind that movement, but to his roommate, a transgender woman. She wasn't a suspect. She wasn't accused of anything. She was cooperating with investigators. And yet her identity became the headline. Her gender became the scandal. And my community became the villain. The irrelevant detail, front and center. Let's be clear. Her gender had nothing, zero, to do with this crime. But still, we saw headlines. Kirk's assassin lived with transgender partner. Shooter's trans ties raised questions. Imagine this. If Robin's roommate had been a straight woman, the stories would have read Shooter's girlfriend cooperating with police? Oh, it would have read that. Yeah, Shooter's girlfriend cooperating with police. End of sentence. End of relevance. But because she was transgender, it became the hook. It became the clickbait. And suddenly we all became guilty by association. Gaslighted by headlines. This is gaslighting in its purest form. It tells the public the details matter. Trust us. Even when it doesn't, and the reputation plants the seeds. Transgender violence scandals. Say it enough times, people start to connect the dots that aren't even there. So how bias works. That's how scapegoating works. And we've seen this playbook before. Historical parallels. In the 1980s, black youth were labeled as super predator wave. On headlines turned into a myth. Myth justified mass incarcerations. In the 1990s, immigrants were job stealers and illegals. Every crime committed by someone undocumented was framed as proof of danger. After 9/11, Muslim became Americans were vilified. Every arrest had Muslim suspect stamped on it, whether or not faith had anything to do with it. Now it's transgender people. Different decade, same script, same harm, ripple effect. And here's where it lands. Not in a newsroom, not in a press release, but in the daily lives of people like me. An 18-year-old girl in Kentucky mocked the school. She called her the shooter's type. Imagine carrying that at 18 years old. She had nothing to do with this tragedy, but suddenly she was on trial in her own hallways. Support centers reported spikes in harassment. Callers literally said, "Look what you people did to Charlie Kirk," as if we pulled the trigger. Families are splitting at dinner tables. Teachers are tiptoeing in classrooms. Trans kids are scared to show up at school, all because of a headline, the double standard. Here's the hypocrisy. When suspects are cis, the parents are described as victims, innocent supporters, devastated. But when the suspects are connected to the trans people, we're cast as dangerous, deviant, complacent, a suspect in shadows. That's not equal coverage. That's not journalism. That's cultural welfare dressed up as reporting. Why does it matter? And you know what's worse? This coverage doesn't just misrepresent one person. It plants the entire trans community with suspicion. It tells America, these people are connected to violence. These people are dangerous. That's not just bias. That's targeting harm. It's scapegoating at scale. So let me say it plainly. Charlie Kirk was a victim of one man's violence, but transgender Americans across the country became the collateral victims of the coverage, from the coverage, not because of what we did, because of what they chose to write. If the media keeps weaponizing our identity, if politicians keep amplifying that fear, then every targeted becomes another excuse to put a target on our backs. And if I don't know about you, what I don't know about you, but I'm done being somebody's scapegoat. I really am. How do we fix it, right? That's the question. How do we fix it? Media has to stop and do its job. Stop inserting irrelevant details when identity has nothing to do with the story. Quote trans people. Tell our story in our own voices. Humanize instead of sensationalize. That's journalism 101. 2, politicians' accountability. Politicians need to stop using us as a distraction. Scapegoating trans people doesn't fix the economy. It doesn't stop gun violence. It doesn't lower rent or bring down healthcare costs. We need leaders who solve real problems instead of inventing fake ones. Community action, and here's where you come in. Speak up when you see bias, call it out, support outlets and creators who actually tell the truth, share stories that humanize, not demonetize or demonize. Every time you challenge a bad headline or amplify a good one, you shift the culture. Personal connection. The most powerful thing we can do is connect one-on-one. When people actually know the trans people, when they hear our stories, see our struggles, our humanity, the fear melts away. The hate can't survive relationship. That's why I show up here, raw and honest, even when it costs me. So, in long term, it's not one law, it's one article, one protest, one culture shift. The culture changes when enough of us say, I'm done being your scapegoat. And I can't do it alone. I need help from the trans community out there. I need you all to just stop with the hate. And you see it in this chat room every time I come on. People that don't know me judge me. Where is this hate coming from? Where does it boil from? Where does it breed from? From what the media says, how they paint us as evil, as demonic. You see it in here every time, Right, Christine?
That's right.
I mean, it's in here. It's so full of people that don't know me, have never met me, but yet they've figured out everything there is to figure out about me. I don't understand it. I don't understand why our country is so full of venom.
Well, Locked In Daily is one of them. It says, you're an old man. You better get your life right before it's too late.
My life is right. It doesn't sound like I'm the one with the problem here. Like this person, you people are connected to violence and children attacks, I'm going to say. On top of celebrating mental health problems, you are the problem. Look at yourself in the mirror. You think you're normal? Listen to yourself. You think what you're saying is normal? And who are you to tell me what my normal is? Do I tell you what you do or what to do? I do not go after children. I protect children. I advocate for kids not to transition till they're 18. But you wouldn't know that because you don't stop and listen to what I say. You assume you know everything I stand for when you know nothing about me. Nothing at all.
Right. Especially based on the comments you've done in that.
Denny says it's the internet, get used to it or get off. It's not about getting used to it. Why should I have to get used to this kind of vileness? Why should I have to get used to politicians attacking the smallest group of people in the country? We're 1% of the country's population, but yet if you didn't know it, you'd think that, my God, we are like the majority. We are in every newscast. We are in everything. What does Charlie Kirk's roommate have to do anything with what that crazy bastard did to Charlie? Nothing at all. But that was the headlines. Transgender connection. Like, are we so powerful that we can control all your minds? Is that how good we are? Are we so strong that we can dictate what you think, how you think? You know, are you that afraid of people like me? Do we scare you that much that you have to come on here and everywhere else and just vilify and basically just be assholes to people that you don't even know, that you've never even stopped to ask one opinion? Are you the same people that did that to the Black community or to the Middle Eastern communities? I mean, who are you people and why are you like the way you are? Were you raised in a way that hate was accepted? Because if you were, then I'm sorry. I feel bad for you. Your parents failed you. Chris, would you like to add anything?
I'm going along. I just got caught up with you. There's nothing that people are talking about themselves.
Francisco, I never said I was a victim, right? You guys are making me a victim. I'm not claiming to be one. I have nothing to do with Kirk's murder, yet I'm blamed for it. So it's not I'm a victim, blah, 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 blah. How about you guys just leave us the hell alone and stop picking on us for no reason at all, and then everybody can be happy. I'm not after your dang kids. I could give a hoot. I'm not trying to convince anybody to transition like I did. You would never hear me say that because that's not what I'm about. You are not worth resources, but you are. So if everybody in the planet thought like the people in this chat room, do you think it would be a better world, Christine?
I do not think it would be.
You don't think it'd be a better world? You don't think it'd be full of hate and vile?
It would be full of it.
What if one of you people here have a kid that's born transgender? What are you going to do? Throw it out? Disown it?
Right.
You ever think of that? What if your best friend comes to you and says, hey, man, I just want to tell you I'm transgender. Are you going to no longer speak to that person because of this? I mean, is it that embedded in you, that much hate rolling around in your little pea-sized brain? I just don't get it. It doesn't get it.
Yeah, you should put it into context of them. And if it was their child, what would they do? Stop talking to their kid?
I have never in my life went anywhere where I would just start saying stuff about somebody I didn't know like this, you know, because I disagreed with who they looked like or how they dressed. It's crazy the amount of hate that trans people get. It's just, and this is a direct result of our president's commentary, of the news media, the way they portray us. the connections, like Donald Trump Jr., like I said last week, said that we're the most violent group of people in the world. It's like, if you guys are really that dumb, maybe it's not us you should be taking the guns from. Maybe it's you. It's the white men that are killing people, not us. If you're going to look at statistics, it's Caucasian, straight ass men that are doing the majority of the shootings in this country. So that's on you guys, not on me. Don't blame your shit on me. Why don't you start talking to your own court and telling your own people to stop doing it? Stop blaming us for your bad shit. That's what I think.
This is going by very fast, but most of it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's calling you a demon about 1,000 times.
I know, I just cut rid of him.
If they had enough time to write that,
I'm a Christian and I love you. So did Charlie. We might not agree on everything, but I want the best for you. I hope that one day you meet Jesus and that your life is full and happy. Thank you very much, Ryan. That's very kind of you. Now, yeah, is this the world? Is this chat what Charlie wanted? Is this the way you guys are behaving in the chat? Do you think that your hero, Charlie, would agree with this? Do you think he would be on your side going, yeah, that's right, man. That's right. You tell that tranny freak. Do you think Charlie would be doing that? I don't think he would. I don't think Charlie was that shallow. I think Charlie would try to discuss it and have a conversation, not just throw slang and slander out there at people. I don't think Charlie would do that. So you guys that claim that he was such a hero, but look at how you talk. I don't think Charlie would agree with this whatsoever. Because this is no God that I've ever seen that would agree with stuff like this. What do you think?
No, I'm still trying to fend off these.
How are you fending anybody off?
Well, I mean, by looking at it and not commenting, and just going past them.
Yeah, try to find some good stuff in there if you can, if there is any. I just, everybody sits there and talks about how Charlie was this and Charlie was that. And you guys, you're actually representing them. You're representing Charlie by the way you're speaking. And I just don't think that this is what Charlie was about. I don't think when people say he was such a nice guy and he was this and that. Personally, I didn't like much of Charlie's message, but that doesn't mean I think that he should have been shot.
Well, Ryan has another thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie didn't hate trans.
No, I don't think he hated anybody.
He didn't agree with them, but that's different. Those in the chat saying this should watch his videos in their entirety.
I think, yeah, exactly. Well, not only that, they should listen to his message. Charlie, if nothing else, he was willing to have the conversation, right? That's what he was about, was the conversation. That's why he went from school to school to school, was to talk to people about it. On here, this is just hate. I'm not woke, by the way, Chose. I'm absolutely against woke ideologies. What if I told you guys that I advocate for kids not to transition till they're 18? What would you say about that? What would you say if I told you guys that I don't think transgender women should be in women's sports, or that transgender women should be in women's locker rooms? What would you say if I said that? What would Charlie have said if I said that to him? He'd agreed with me. You think he would have called me names and loser and demon? My God. Do you guys not see what you're doing here? Charlie would say that you're a man, dude, to repent and seek our Father in heaven. He might say that, right? And I would tell Charlie, you're right. I'm biologically male. I can't change that. Although, has anybody ever stopped to think, or anybody ever stopped and wondered, what is the reason? What is behind people that are transgender? What causes people to think that they're transgender? Has anybody ever thought about that? Have they ever put any money behind it in the research for Dr. Schwab in the Netherlands that's studying this, that has come up with what they believe is right on line with the reason that we're transgender? That we just don't wake up one day and say, I'm going to be trans today. That's not how it goes, people. There's a reason behind this. It's not just a feeling that we have. It's not just, oh, we woke up one day and this is who we are. That's not what this is about. But nobody in this chat is willing to even stop for a second and ask, why do you think transgender is? Why does it happen? How do you prevent it? Can you prevent it? Can we determine it? Is there studies that show parts of the brain that can back up what you're saying? No, nobody wants to say anything in here. They just want to go blah, 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 blah. I mean, my God. What about if I do what Charlie does now? What if I go from school to school to school, and I go to right-wing schools, and I sit in a chair, and I have debates with everybody? Do you think that would work? Do you think, would you guys welcome me to sit there and have a decent conversation, or would you treat me like you're treating me here in chat? I'm curious. I'd really like to know, because I've been thinking about doing that. Just going to, you're basically your right-wing schools, sit there and debate. Whoever wants to debate about who I am, what I am, where I come from. Or would you guys be like you're being in the chat right now? And if you were, would the media portray you as violent people? Would they betray you as, oh, that's not safe to be around these people because I wouldn't be safe? Would I be safe there around you people? Right? Would you actually have a conversation, or would you want to beat me up, or just sit there and call me names, or just cuss at me? Because when Charlie did it, he was a hero. If I do it, am I a villain? Am I wrong? I don't have the right that Charlie does to speak my mind, to voice my opinions. Only Charlie could do that.
Wasn't a hero till he was
People looked up to him. But I'm just curious. Or would you guys get on the mic and say the exact same things you're saying to me right now? That's what I want to know. Or would you let me actually talk and actually ask legitimate questions? Or would it be the same stuff? You're a man, you're a freak, God don't love you, blah, 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 blah. Because that shows ignorance, people. That shows a lack of intelligence. That's all that shows when you people do this. Hi, somebody say hi, Brooke. Hi, Barbie Savage. Yeah, they're vicious tonight, aren't they? Or would you get up to the microphone and say, I just wanted to tell you, you need Jesus, man. You're a man. You can only be a man. You'll never be a woman, blah, 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 blah. Is that all you guys would say? Because after a while, it wouldn't be me, the one that looked dumb. It would be you guys that look dumb. Because your arguments are weak. They have no merit behind them. They have no stance behind them. At least Charlie had a decent argument. He had his religion that he stood by, the reasons why he believed I couldn't be who I was. I never once heard Charlie say, just because you're a demon, or just because, you're a dude, man. No, Charlie did more than that. We got one. Jesus would be understanding to you. Don't let religion tell you who's Jesus. Seeking him nonstop. I respect you. Thank you very much, Lex.
Ledoux, yeah.
Ledoux. I appreciate the donation. I appreciate the comment. Yeah, it's just boggles my mind that you have somebody who was idolized so much so that they're talking about having a holiday for him, right? Holiday for Charlie. But yet, are you guys his followers? Are you the result of Charlie's work? Is this what Charlie achieved through his talking? Is what we see right here? Because if that's the case, this is nothing to celebrate. Nobody wants to celebrate hate. Nobody wants to celebrate the fact that I can't speak my mind.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, that's right.
I don't think that's what Charlie stood for. I think he'd be ashamed of each and every one of you for behaving the way that you are.
And judging me the way that they are.
And judging me the way, yeah, exactly. I just don't get it. It's, okay, so, or is it that the only opinions that matter are the ones that you agree with, right? The ones that you don't agree with, well, they just don't matter. And if I think differently than you in any way, then I must be wrong. You guys acted like Charlie was your goddamn hero, and look at the way you behave in this chat. Look at the way you behave. Look at the way our president's son behaved when he got a microphone in front of him. I think Charlie would have denounced Don Trump Jr. for saying what he said. I think that he would have been against all this hate directed at us. I think Charlie would have said, that person that shot me was not transgender. Why are you blaming him? Okay, somebody says, read my previous message. Can you find that one, Chris? Okay. IANAKI 101. INAAKI 101. Yeah, we'll try to find it, and then Christine will read it when she finds it. But still, yeah, so can somebody please, justify your behavior? Just, At least tell me why Charlie would have been like, oh yeah, that's a good thing you're doing right there. You just give it to her. You give it to him. Excuse me. Give it to him. You should go to Turning Point event and be yourself. Time for division and hate over is sad. More people need to spend time together without animosity and rage. Exactly. I mean, I was talking to Christine about this. I says, if I went to a school like Charlie did, and I told people I wanted to debate right-wing people about the valid, my validness to be who I am, if they would accept me, would they allow this to happen? Or would they literally drive me off the campus? Or would they literally make it so unsafe for me that I would be incapable of doing that? Because if that's the case, then you got no room calling us violent, right?
Right.
I mean, what do you think, Christine?
Right.
You're giving me one short
I'm
answer.
still looking for that one message, and I don't see it.
Facts, 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 and it's not his religion, the religion and the truth for all who accept it. Free will and choice were given to us, but with that comes common sense and continue to the human race. And this human race. Yeah, Sharon, I agree with you. I do. Yeah, free will. Free will comes at a cost. Free will is something comes with a heavy burden. And the free will of the people saying what they're saying here, I don't know if you guys actually mean the amount of hate that's spewing at me right now, or it's just fun. You can tell me, because I'm really not sure. If you truly hate me that much, then I live in your head for free. And what a place to go, huh? I live in all these people's heads for free.
Well, if you have a chance to resubmit your question, I will look for it right away.
She can't find it. I'm sorry. Yeah, the chat's going by pretty fast.
We'll be on it real quick if I can see it. Right
yeah, she'll try to put it all in caps or something like that to make it easier to see. I try to stop. Hello, I don't want to be offensive, and I have no prejudice against you or your beliefs. But as a father, a husband was shot regardless. If you do not like what he says, please stay in peace and let him. I denounced the violence against Charlie. I thought it was horrific. I thought that I was kind of pissed off that the LGBT community didn't all stand up and say that this was wrong. It was so wrong what happened to Charlie. Charlie spoke his mind. Charlie had his own beliefs, and I'm okay with that. Just because I didn't agree with what he believed about me, I agreed with a lot of other things he said. And actually, when it came to transgender people, I agreed with about 90% of what he said about us. I'm not a female. I can't be a female. I was born a male, right? I don't believe that trans women belong in women's locker rooms and spaces if they still have a penis. I don't believe that trans women belong in women's sports because they have an obvious advantage with the testosterone. I don't believe that children should transition till they're 18-year old and sign their own damn contract and not leave it up to the parents or the schools or the teachers. So Charlie and I would have agreed on all that stuff, but nobody in here even asked, did they? They just assumed that I'm some kind of a woke left-wing lunatic. I'm not woke and I'm not left-wing, and I voted for Trump. Shocker, huh? Yes, I actually voted for Trump because our country needed help. I knew he was going to come after my kind, but you know what? I had to put country over self, and I did that. So
somebody says it seems like you're just coming on here to be victimized.
No, I don't want to be victimized. I want to talk to people. I want to change people's minds.
You've been doing this for a long time, a lot longer than just before Charlie Kirk was.
Oh yeah, I've been doing this for over a year and a half because I could see the vile and the hate and the lies. They would interview drag queens and say that they had just talked to the trans community. The misconception about what it is to be trans was so strong. I don't come on here to be victimized. You think I like all this stuff being said about me? I come on here to try to change opinions, to try to change viewpoints, to show the country that there's people that are trans like me that agree with them on the majority of their issues. But I was born this way, people. I have a brain that's a hermaphrodite, and there's nothing I can do about that. Nothing. This is who I am to the core, how I was developed in my mama's womb. I can't change that, just like you can't change who you are. But no, I don't come on here to be victimized. Who wants to be victimized? I think I spend all this time and energy preparing these things that I read and I put up here to be victimized. No, I'm trying to get people to listen to what I say. Just like Charlie was trying to get the left-wing people to listen to what he was saying, I'm trying to get the right wing to shut up and listen. Close your mouth and open your ears, because you guys are acting foolish. You're acting dumb. I mean, you're not acting like intelligent people. The things that you say are so just stupid and hurtful and just so grammar school.
Top 3 says, for to go chat, I like you. Voting for Trump is a decision.
Hold on one second here. It says, you are what all trans people should aspire to be. Common you speak for against, you're kind of having critical thinking. Thank you very much for that. Is that Booby?
And I went past it
Boopy?
to
Boopy Snoopy?
the
Boopy
chat.
Snoops? Thank you. I appreciate that. What'd you say,
There's a
Chris?
chat from Hot 3.
Uh-huh.
It says, I like you. Voting for Trump is a decision.
Yes, because that was the best of the two decisions. Had Robert Kennedy been up there, I would have voted for him. But Trump was the best option. I couldn't vote for Obama or Kamala, whatever her name was. She's crazy. She would have drove this country further into the ground. She would have left the borders wide open. We'd have been overrun. We would not have a country left. So it was an easy choice for me to vote for Trump, because we needed somebody.
4 years to fix the borders.
We needed
that was
somebody.
her major job. 4 years worth.
Yeah,
And
she was a
did
border
not
czar, and
fix
she failed
that
us miserably.
thing.
And then they lied to us about everything. And Trump, yeah, I agree with probably 80% of everything he's done. We needed a strong hand in government to get the respect of the world back. And he did that so far. But I do think he's slipping mentally. The guy still sounds like he's on the campaign trail. It's repeat, 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 repeat. The same word over and over and over again. The same. It's like, dude, we heard you 1,000 times.
Summation of Deeds says, please stop telling him to find Jesus. Worry about your own house.
Yeah, really. Don't tell me how to run mine until yours is clean. But like with Trump, do you think we don't know if you would have been president, there never would have been war? We get it. We've heard it a billion freaking times. It's just, to me, somebody who keeps repeating the stuff like that, I start to worry about their mental competence. Just saying. You called out Biden. I think we should call out Trump when it's necessary, right? It's just me. I mean, fair is fair. I think he's slipping. He doesn't sound like the same person. And we don't want somebody like Trump who's willing to call bluffs slipping in the White House mentally.
Luca, thank you for your comment. Luca writes, I don't care what you do as long as you stay out of women's bathrooms and not force it on our children. These choices should be made by adults, not children. And thank you. That's what we've been
Absolutely.
promoting this
And
whole
I
time.
think any parent out there that is advocating for their child to transition at such a young age, you really, really, really need to go get some counseling or something. You really need to talk to somebody else, because what you're doing to that child is you're locking them into something that they're most likely going to grow out of. 90-something% of all people that are experiencing any kind of gender dysphoria grow out of it before they're 18 years old. If you're transitioning a child when they're 10, 12, 14, you're locking them in. There's no reverse on this. There's no going backwards. You put them on puberty blockers, it's going to affect their reproductive systems. If you put them on estrogen, it's going to really, really affect their genitals and their penis size and all kinds of other things. There's no going back from this. You need to wait till the kids are mentally old enough to make those decisions with knowledge, and because they don't know what they're getting into. They don't know what it means. The fact that, are you going to have your 10, 12, 13-year-old kid have to dilate? If you don't know what that means, look it up. But they would have to dilate every single day, more, freaking throughout the day. And that's not something a child should be doing. A child should be playing games. And if they do feel like they're transgender, maybe they're just gay. Maybe you ought to just let them grow with it. Let's be parents again and say no to our kids when they're trying to hurt themselves. Let's say no to the doctors that are trying to persuade the parents to, this is the way to go. And if kids are threatening to hurt themselves, if you don't let them, then get them better counseling and mental counseling. Transitioning is not the way to save their lives. It's the way to ruin it. Because 0.06% of the United States community is transgender. So out of the 750,000 kids these days that are identifying as trans, the majority of them will grow out of it. But if you transition, you lock them in. And then you're going to screw it up, and you're going to have to be the one to face them. And that's the parents. And it's not that I'm against kids that are transgender. Of course not, because I am. But I'm against making mistakes with children that believe through peer pressure or whatever that they're trans when they're not. That's what I'm worried about.
Brendan and Catherine wants to chant with you. When you show up as your authentic self, whatever that may be,
Mm-hmm.
you allow others to do the same, creating the world we all deserve.
This is my authentic self.
Yes.
This is who I am. This is who I've been since I was a little kid. I was just so afraid to come out because I would have lived in this chat for
But
real.
being allowed to do what you're doing is he's saying, creating the world we all deserve.
Look at this person says Charlie Lowe. Wonder if that's a real name or if they're just trying to
Thank you, Brandon.
do it. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that greatly. Who was that donation from, CA? See it up there? It must have escaped by me when I was doing this. There it is. Oh yeah, you just read that. Yeah, thank you, Brandon. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the donation, and I appreciate your words even more. Because, yeah, we just need, and you know what the thing is? There's a lot more people out there that believe me and agree with me that are transgender than don't, right? A lot of people in the trans community got led down this woke path that led to a cliff of destruction. And they weren't thinking. They're like, what are you thinking when you go after kids in women's sports? And there was only 15 athletes in women's sports, by the way, but 15 is 15 too many. There's girls out there that work their ass off to get on those teams, to get on those podiums. And have somebody who comes in and is obviously has an advantage and let them take it away is just wrong. It's absolutely wrong. And I challenge every trans athlete out there to look in the mirror and tell yourself that you don't have an advantage, because you know you do. And if you can't look in the mirror and honestly say, I don't have an advantage, then you need to step aside and get out of that sport and leave it to the women. Because if you keep doing that kind of shit, women will just stop playing sports. And that's sad. That's just a tragedy. These places, we want to be accepted by the community. We don't want to replace people in it. Use your heads. Pardon me?
Barbie just sent you a gift.
Thank you, Barbie.
I didn't get to look at it. See what it is.
Papa says anything to pay the bills. Huh? What does that mean, even? What does that mean? It's not free to come on here, Papa. That's like a sin, even saying that to somebody like that. Call you Smurf instead. You know, it costs money. Yeah, this helps me to pay my bills as far as coming on here and trying to straighten out a community that was led the wrong way.
It costs
to try to let other trans people out there that are afraid to say what I'm saying speak their minds. To other trans people to stand up for the kids. If that's what it takes, then that's what I'm going to do. And those donations do help me. So if you don't like it, then kiss my ass. Go somewhere else.
Barbie sent another gift.
Thank you, Barbie.
I don't know where to find that.
See, these people that it just never ceases to amaze me. They're not even listening to what I'm saying. You know what I mean? They're not even hearing it. Don't worry, I'm getting rid of these dipshits.
I can't do it. I'm not.
No, it's fine. You are, but you're not. Everybody in this comment section spreading hate needs to stop. I'm a Christian myself, but you don't need to agree with people to treat them with respect. If you don't like it, get off the live. Exactly. It's just, to me, it's shocking to me. I mean, if I were to walk into your church, would you start screaming at me like you do here? Would you start saying that, you demon, to get out of here? Would anybody say this to me in public, or is this just courage behind a screen, behind a keyboard? Because I've never in public had anybody say anything to me other than, the snickering and a little bit of laughter, and that happens a lot, but it's okay. Because guess what? I look like a man dressed up like a girl. I know I look like that. But I'm not doing it to please you. I'm doing it to soothe me. So I don't care what you think I look like. When I look in the mirror, I see a beautiful woman. When you look at me, you see a man dressed up like a girl. I get that. The way it is. Nothing I can do to change that. You see?
Devin says, love how you have the self-awareness you have and all of the reasonableness and logic behind your thoughts.
Thank you. That's very kind. It's very kind. I like people that think. Respect for not being a liberal. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not woke. Believe me when I tell people this. I am not a woke person. I am not a left-wing lunatic.
Super Sneaky Snake is on there. It says this is easily the most closed-minded comment section I've ever seen.
Isn't it?
Depressing Trump voters absolutely have zero desire to make things better.
This is why Trump voters get such a bad reputation.
You know, just sit there and call people names.
If I were to
Insane.
record this chat, I think some people would be really have their eyes open at what that community is actually like when there's no cameras in their face, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Because this is not representation of the right wing. These are not the people that represent that. Because the people that are truly, you know, I think that they're not all like that. I think that these are just a handful of people that like to go around and feel strong or feel, you know, brave because they're saying bad things to me. You know, and they have a hero named Charlie that they've been idolizing all week long that would never do what they're doing right now. Charlie would not hang around with people like this. I know that for a fact. He would never hang around with you people. You think that he would pat you on the back and tell you how proud of you he was? No. He would tell you you're disgusting. I'm not the disgusting one here. I'm speaking my truth. I'm trying to portray a message to protect our kids, protect sanctity of women's spaces, to try to get the respect of the community back, try to get the trust of this country back, that we are not here to harm anyone.
And
We're not here to...
Joy and Don wants to know, how does her looks affect any of you?
Exactly. How does my life affect any of you?
Any of you.
Especially if I advocate for the same protections against children and women that you do. And actually, I think I actually make more of a difference coming when it comes to protecting the kids, because I'm within the community that you villainize, saying that we all want to change your kids, when I'm the one standing up here saying, no, I don't. No, it's wrong. I have a what do you call that? A thing out there to get signatures and stuff.
Petition.
A petition. I have a petition called Our Kids, Our Choice. What it is a petition to change the laws in California that children cannot medically transition until they're 18 years old. It's in my last live chat. You're looking at the thing there. You'll see it on the bottom. Click on the link. Sign it for me, please. I only have like 100 signatures, but I could use a lot more. I tried to get Gavin Newsom to sign it. I've been advocating to protect kids for a long time. But
Taylor McLean says, at least you got some sense. And I'm like everyone else. Don't care what you do. Just don't push it on our kids. And
exactly.
Respect my decisions. I'll respect yours.
Absolutely, 100%. And respect women.
That's right. Taylor.
Right?
Thank you.
You know, I don't like the word cisgender women, because I think it sounds like a zit. Why can't we just call them women? That's who they are. They're not cis this or that or whatever. You know, I don't know. It's just such a deep-rooted hate here that it's very disturbing. I wouldn't mind coming on here and having a debate with people here. And maybe there were people that had honest questions or honest debating, but they just flew by too fast. We didn't see them. I do read all these afterwards. After I'm done, shut it off, and over the next day or so, I will read every single comment. And that's hard to do because the majority of them are F you, F this, you're that, you're not of this, you're not of that, you're going to hell, blah, 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 blah.
Well, J.J. Abraham says this person should be arrested.
I should be arrested?
Ill. So I want to know first, J.J., if she should be arrested, what for? She's having her free speech.
And what jail should I go to?
And if she's mentally ill, how the fuck would you know? How would you know either way?
What jail should I go to? Because I have a vagina.
Yeah.
And breast. What, should I go to a men's prison? Just curious. I just want to know, because if you send me to a man's prison, you might as well send me to death. Right? I mean, because how do you think they'll treat me? You know, this is what I'm saying. You people don't even know anything about me. I don't have a penis any longer, people. I have fully transitioned. Should I go to the men's bathroom still? Should I put myself in that much harm? I mean, look at this chat. Would you feel comfortable in the men's bathroom with half these people in this chat? I wouldn't. I think you guys are dangerous. You know, you talk about that trans people are dangerous. Listen to yourselves. Come on, people. And as far as your God goes, my God is my God. And my God's going to look in my heart, not in my pants, when it comes time to judge me. And I think God's going to go, you know what, Brooke? I think you're a pretty good person. I just don't see the love in it. I don't see the religion in the hate. Sorry, that's just me, I guess. I used to think you all can't possibly get this ignorant. I stand corrected. How am I ignorant, Kate? Can you please tell me? Are you talking to me? I used to think that you all can't possibly be this ignorant. Are you talking to me or the chat? Because at what point, what am I being ignorant about? But that I can't be a woman because I was born a man? I already said that. I said I can't be female, but I can represent myself as the best lady that I possibly can. Can I be female? No. Can I get pregnant? No. Can I have periods? Nope. None of that. Can't do it. Never can, never will be able to because I was born a dude. Can I change my chromosomes? Nope. But I can represent myself that my brain believes. There's a part of your brain that determines how your gender is. It's not just an ideal or a thought or a hanging out with a crowd, right? It determines who your gender is. And if you know anything about hermaphrodite people that are born with both sex organs, the brain can be born with both sexes as well, right? And what happens when a brain is born like that? You get me. So who's ignorant, me or you? Right? Just saying. The only problem is because you can't prove it. Nope, I sure can't. Because the brain, this should prove it in itself, right? The brain has no actual sex identifiers, right? It's gender neutral. The brain itself is. So we can't actually take a slice of that part of the brain and go, ooh, look, female or male. You're right. You're absolutely correct. And that's the hang up of this whole thing. So they have to go by visual cues. Say this visually looks and matches like female stuff does, female brain does. So, but you're right. And since the brain itself is actually gender neutral, shouldn't that prove that it could go either way? I mean, to me, that means, wow, if the brain's neutral, then it could be persuaded one way or another to believe one thing or another. And if your brain doesn't align with your body, that's the cause of it. Just like people can be born with the male and female sex organs. Why would you not think that a brain can't be born with both sex identifiers? It can, and it has. That's why you get me. Just saying. Respect for not being a liberal. Thank you for that donation. I appreciate it. The MAGAs are ignorant as fuck. So science is more advanced than what those assholes learned in elementary school, dumbasses. Yeah, there's a person named Professor Schwab. He works in the Netherlands. I sent him a copy of my hypothesis. He read my hypothesis. He said it aligns perfectly with his research. He just suggested I change the name because it was neurologically intersexuality hypothesis. And he suggested that neurological sounds like a brain disease. So we changed the name, but I can never remember what we changed it to. But if you go to the website Medium Publishing, look up Brooke Lee Rose. It's pinned to my site there, and you can read my hypothesis. It's scientifically based. It's not based by flight of the night stuff. It's based by testing. It's based on trials and all kinds of good, solid science. You know, not just blah, blah, blah. It's based on science. And if you read it and you can understand it, then you'll probably get a better idea of what I believe anyway it is to be transgender and what the cause is. And here's the good news. If we can figure out exactly when this flux in estrogen or testosterone happens, we could actually possibly prevent transgender. If we know when it is and we can monitor it and realize that the body is identified as male and they're having this issue with the gender aspect of it, and we could adjust, we could probably prevent people from being transgender. Wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah, see, you guys would think that I would want to promote it. No, I want to prevent it. I don't want anybody to have to go through what I'm going through. Not only in this chat, but I mean, personally, mentally, it is hard to have a brain that thinks differently than your body. It's not a good, pleasant thing. It's quite disturbing. So maybe I am mentally different, but I'm not mental, I'm not crazy. Okay, so next.
I just got my phone back on.
Okay.
1 second. I was trying to check the cat, find out why he was meowing.
Not one real man is anti-MAGA. Here's what I'm MANA, MANA. You know what that means? MANA, make America normal again. That's what I stand for. Not make America gross again like MAGA. You guys are gross. You took something to make America great again that was supposed to be some positive slogan, and you've turned it into something gross and hateful. It means hate to me when I see MAGA hats. It means that I'm not safe where I see a MAGA hat. How about make America normal again? Or how about make America nice again? That'd be all right too, huh?
That would be nice.
Yeah.
What is this supposed to mean, Spike Palm? Imagine walking around with a fruit cup all day. I wonder what that means.
I don't know. I don't carry a lunch bag anymore. I'm out of grammar school, so
Walking around with that fruit cup.
you want a little fruit box, a little juice box and a little fruit cup. You go ahead and do that, young man. I'm a transformer, yay. Okay, good for you. Trans is a sin. How could it be a sin if we were born this way? Don't you think God maybe made everybody a little bit different for a reason? Just saying. Right? I think it kind of probably would have made everybody different for a reason, because it'd be awful boring if you didn't.
Aaron Lesmat says, everybody stop the hate. What would Jesus do?
Jesus would not do this.
He would love first.
He would love first.
And Aaron says, I'm a Christian, right wing, but gosh, makes me sad, the hate I see. Be kind.
I know, it does. It really breaks my heart, because here's what I also think.
I don't agree with it, but how can we hate other people?
Do you think I'm stronger than God? Do you think I can outdo God's will for me? God made me exactly how he wanted me, and this is it. You're looking at how God made me. God made me this way. This is exactly what he wanted me to be, and this is who I am. So you're right. God doesn't make mistakes, and I'm not one of them. I'm not a mistake. I'm a product of God. I hate, why does this always turn to God, right? Every time it always turns to God. Like, really, like any one of you in this chat have the authority to speak for God. Right? God came down and said, I want you to go on this chat and speak for me and tell him what I want him to think, that I did not agree with him, and him should be not dressed like that. You really think that God gave you permission to judge me?
Jake's dad's mustache says, you need to use the men's room.
I don't have
my
a
own
penis.
saying about this. I wanted to reply so badly, but I know you can do a better job than me.
I just don't have a penis.
So what are you supposed to do? Go to the men's room and look for a stall with a door?
Am I supposed to squat in the urinal?
Right.
I don't have a penis. I cannot pee
Not
standing
stand
up.
and pee
Well, I
next to
could, but it would go all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
have a penis. They dismantled my penis
need
a
to
year
use
and
the
2 months
ladies'
ago. They actually, this is another thing I think. Before you transition into kids, you should have them watch a video of what they do when they do these sex change operations, because it is gory.
They dismantle that.
They take your penis and they dismantle it. They tear it down to where it's just the main vein. Y'all boys know what I'm talking about. And they dismantle and they cut away the rest. And then they take that and they take your scrotum, which is your ball sack, and they turn it into your vagina, your labia, and all that other good stuff.
On another note,
It
Sergio
hurts.
says, you may have changed certain aspects of your body, but your soul is untouched. Keep up the good combos and discussions. And I do believe you're
Thank you.
right. God
Thank
looks
you.
at hearts and the joy
Yes,
you bring to
God's
each
not
other.
going to look at my pants. I don't think you take your ding-a-ling with you when you go to heaven anyway.
No, they
I
said
think you go as spirit.
God looks at hearts and the joy you bring to
Correct.
each other.
Exactly. You're going to look in your heart. Did you have love and compassion in your heart?
Thank you, Sergio.
Sergio, that's awesome. I truly believe that it's all about love. So that's what the near-death experiences say anyway, that, when they've gone to heaven or wherever they went, that it was all more about love than anything else. Nobody cares about your genitalia. Stay out of women's spaces. You don't belong there. You're an idiot. You're just ignorant. That's just an ignorant person right there. You probably think I should go to a man's prison too if I get in trouble, right? That's just ignorance. Absolute ignorance.
GIB X99 says women feel unsafe around you.
No, they
Go
don't.
into their restroom.
I understand.
I don't agree with that. I'm a woman, and I think women wouldn't feel unsafe.
This isn't
You're
fun.
very late.
What am I going to do? I don't have a penis.
No, you don't. supposed to go into a stall and close the door.
Yep.
And do your business like everyone else does.
If there's women in here, and I could get an honest answer out of the women in here, is it the person that you're uncomfortable with, or the penis that they're carrying into those spaces that you're uncomfortable with?
Because you don't have one.
Because I
and you're always
understand.
very private and very shy in any restroom.
I generally don't go into public restrooms
Yeah.
unless I have to, because I don't want that misconception or that, that confrontation, which I don't think it ever happened. Pretty big. But the whole point is, I have always advocated, if you are transgender and you still have a penis, you do not belong in women's showers, women's locker rooms, women's bathrooms. You need to find another way. Go before you go home, find a gender neutral bathroom, because you can't bring that part of your genitals into a private women's space. Women have these spaces because they know it's going to be penis free. And I don't think that I am offering any kind of threat, because I have no penis. What am I going to do? I mean, I'm sure that people can be hurt without having a penis, but it's not. I don't think any woman would have any problem with me if I was in the locker room and I disrobed and they seen who I am anatomy wise. I don't think any one of them would have a problem whatsoever.
Giacomo wants to know who misses Joe Biden.
Joe. Joe misses Joe Biden. You stop, Charlie. You're being an idiot. F all the people blessing this freak. No, F you, bro. That's what I think. F you for your immaturity, your nonsense.
Barbie on here. Did you see Barbie Savage?
They were going to change my daughter's sex. If your daughter was under 18, fight your ass off to prevent that from happening. Take them to a mental health care provider that's willing to look somewhere else besides gender dysphoria. Do not let them touch your child until they're 18 and can sign their own contracts. God doesn't make mistake. Why do you alter what He made you? I didn't. God wanted me to be one way for a part of my life and this way the other part. I just went with it. You think if God didn't want me to do that I would have been able to go against His will and just do it anyway? Nah. God made me this way. Maybe it was so I could deal with people like you guys. Right?
Maybe Charlie thinks you're Jerusalem. Well,
Charlie's an idiot.
It appears so. He's typing idiot things right now.
And he's dumb. Immature. He's an immature person. Stupid. There's not a legitimate argument there.
Someone named Follow Christ says, don't listen to people mocking. They're pointless. Seek God and He will draw near to you. God is the one who changes an individual for His will. We will all go against His will. This is what Jesus was saying.
What does that one say? Oh, it says something about going to the bathroom.
And Barbie Savage came back on from the night before last. She's on here now and says, Charlie, stop judging and grow up, everyone.
Okay, it says, but if you go into a girl's room, expect to be attacked by a protective man. Unless you want to get your ass kicked by a tranny, I wouldn't do that if I was you. Just a little word of advice. If you see me coming out of there, you might think twice. Hey, unless you want to go back and tell all your bowling buddies that you got your ass whooped by a trans girl, you might not want to do that. Just saying.
A very feminine trans girl like that.
Yeah, but I'll still kick your ass.
Yeah. Jennifer Crenshaw says, I wouldn't want you in the bathroom, the young girl. That's how most people feel about the bathroom.
It is. I agree. Most people do. I had 2 daughters, and I understand that feeling, which is why I respect it. But my question to you is, so does that mean that I should take my vagina, whether you like the fact that I have one or not, whether you believe the fact that I have one or not? The fact is, I do have one. Should I be allocated to go to the men's room? Would you feel safe with your vagina in the men's room? I don't think so. So I'm not going to use the men's bathroom. I did before I had my bottom surgery. Absolutely. If I had to go pee in public, generally I just wait. But I would never go in the women's bathroom out of respect. I respect women's spaces.
Yes, you don't go.
But I have a right to protect my own safety too. I feel more uncomfortable that I would be going into a men's room than,
How
have
would
to.
you go pee in a men's room?
I don't think these people, if they
There's
see me
not
in
any
public,
way for you to go pee in.
well, they have toilets in there, Chris.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they don't just have urinals. Nobody
No.
shits standing up.
I see.
But I don't think anybody, if they ever met me in public, I don't think they would say anything. I think talking to me for less than 2 minutes and they'd be like, "You're cool, get out of here."
Yeah.
I don't think that they would confront me. I really don't.
Barbie sent you a gift.
Thank you, Barbie. The funny thing is I'm probably bigger and taller than most of these men here, which sucks for me because I don't want to be that way, but I'm almost 6 feet tall. I'm over 200 pounds. I don't think you might come out and going, okay, I'm not going to say anything to that tranny. Just because. And I'm not a violent person, but I will defend myself. And I will defend myself quite well. So just think before you leave, because I think the worst thing any one of these people in there could ever do is have one of them get their ass beat by a transgender girl. I think that would just be so humiliating to them. And I don't advocate violence. I don't think anybody should ever be beating anybody up. I mean, we're not in high school anymore, right? We're not kids anymore. Nobody should be hitting anybody. But damn straight, I'll defend myself. I'm just saying. It's just kind of sad. Sad to think people threatening me like that. It's okay for you to threaten me. Man, if I were to threaten you, it'd be all over the 2 o'clock news. So anyway, why don't we advocate for peace and love? I would understand a dad approaching me if I came out of the bathroom because I know I'm obviously transgender. But I would expect them to have respect enough because I would tell that father, look, sir, I have a vagina. Would you prefer I go to the men's room with my vagina? I would say that right to their face. And then if they still wanted to push the issue, then we might have some problems. But I just don't think they would. I just don't think they would. I'm irrational. I'm 61 years old. You're going to beat up an old lady? But I work on a ranch. I work a very physical job. I'm not a wimp.
How do you find where the gift is? Barbie Savage sent 100.
100. No, it's just little gifts over there that are popping up on the right.
Are you able to see what they are?
Yeah, I see them coming out, little floaty balloons and stuff.
Okay.
That's
nice.
Imagine a 5'9" beating a 6-footer. Whatever, Rich. Yeah, imagine that. I have effed up, mutilated dicks. You guys are so stupid. So stupid. Okay, Chris, I've had enough. We're going to shut this down.
Yeah.
I've had enough of the hate. Thank you for the people that support me and for what I'm trying to do. It really means the world to me. The other people that come on here, they're just filler.
If you like any of the comments and you want to subscribe, please do.
Even if you don't like me, you can subscribe and come back and beat me up again in 2 days. Because I come on here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm here preaching my words.
Yeah, so we'll be back on Friday.
Trying to get people to jump on board. Let's make America normal again. Let's be nice to one another. Let's spread love, not animosity, not hate. If you really stood for what Charlie stood for, it wasn't for hate, it was for communication. Because when communication breaks down, violence starts. And those are Charlie's words, not mine. And from what I could tell, communication has broke down. Y'all are taking this hate out on me that has nothing to do with me. Nothing whatsoever, but you do it anyway and you feel comfortable doing it. And that's the scary part. But you people out there that are understanding, you might not understand or agree with what I am, but you just let me live my life. And that's all I can ask of anybody. Chris, any final words?
It's everything. Just maybe next time on Friday we can talk about something more than you being trans, because that's how.
Well, I mean, half these people don't even realize that I did a 15-minute, talk before. Maybe I should go back and read that one about. How about I do that? I'll do that and then I'll go off. Okay, does that sound good?
Sure.
Okay, let's do this. Let me go back and read why this is the way it is. Okay.
It's ridiculous that you people cannot see behind your own veil.
Just their own hate. That's the scary part. It's so much hate, so much division. They talk about God a lot, but God, man, if he looks down and he sees it like it was back in the day, we're out of control as a race. Right? Okay, here we go. This is for you all out there. Where does it start? I forgot. Okay. Here it is. I think. Bear with me 1 second, Chris. You could talk for a minute.
Oh, well, I just, off my neck.
Okay. Give me 2 seconds here, people. I'm just trying to find something. I don't know where. You generally don't go backwards on these, but I want to tonight. Okay, here we go. Gaslighting of Charlie Kirk is what the title was. Charlie Kirk was assassinated on September 10th. That's the story, but that's not what that's not the story they told you. Within hours of coverage shifted, not just because of the shooter, Tyler James Robbins, but to his roommate, a transgender woman, right? Shifted to a transgender woman. This guy shot her transgender woman. She wasn't a suspect. She wasn't accused of anything. She was cooperating with investigators. And yet, her identity became the headline. Her gender became the scandal. And the community became the villain. The irrelevant detail, front and center, let's be clear. Her gender had nothing, zero, to do with this crime. But still, we saw headlines. Kirk's assassin lived with transgender partner. Shooter trans ties raised questions. Imagine this. If Robin's roommate had been a straight woman, the story would have read, shooter's girlfriend cooperating with police. End of sentence. End of relevance. But because she was transgender, it became the hook. It became the clickbait. And suddenly, we all became guilty by association. Gaslighting by headline. This is gaslighting in its purest form. It tells the public, this detail matters. Trust us, even when it doesn't. And the repetition plants the seed. Transgender violence, scandal, said enough times, and people start connecting the dots that aren't even there. That's how bias works. That's how scapegoating works. And we've seen this playbook before. Historical parallels. In the 1980s, Black youth were labeled as super predator wave. One headline turned into a myth, and the myth justified mass incarcerations. In the 1990s, immigrants were job stealers and illegals. Every crime committed by someone undocumented was framed as proof of danger. After 9/11, Muslim Americans were vilified. Every arrest had Muslim suspects stamped on it, whether or not faith had anything to do with it. Now it's transgender people, different decade, same script, same harm, the ripple effect. And here's where it lands. Not in a newsroom, not in a press release, but in the daily lives of people like me. A 16-year-old girl in Kentucky was mocked at school. They called her the shooter's type. Imagine carrying that at 16. She had nothing to do with this tragedy, but suddenly she was on trial in her own hallways. Support centers reported spikes in harassment. Callers literally said, look at what your people did to Charlie Kirk, as if we all pulled the trigger. Families are splitting at dinner tables. Teachers are tiptoeing in classrooms. Trans kids are scared to show up in school, all because of headlines. The double standard, okay? Here's the hypocrisy. When suspects are cis, their partners are described as victims, innocent, supportive, devastated. But when suspects are connected to the trans people, we're cast as dangerous, deviant, complacent. A suspect in shadows. That's not equal coverage. That's not journalism. That's cultural welfare dressed up as reporting. Why it matters? And you know what's worse? This coverage doesn't just misrepresent one person. It plants the entire trans community with suspicion. It tells America these people are connected to violence. These people are dangerous. That's not just bias. That's targeted harm. It's scapegoating at scale. So let me say it plainly. Charlie Kirk was the victim of one man's violence, but transgender Americans across this country became the collateral victim of the coverage. Not because of what we did, because of what they chose to write. If the media keeps weaponizing our identity, if politicians keep amplifying the fear, then the very tragedy becomes another excuse to put a target on our backs. And I don't know about you, but I'm done being somebody's scapegoat. With that, I will thank you and I will say goodnight.